So Anthony, what is the film The Frosted Glass all about?
The film concerns two characters, one who has been extremely open about their Asperger's, and the other who has kept it extremely well hidden. It is based on real-life experiences of mine, and also other people I've interviewed and spent time with. The film looks at what has happened to the two characters in their lives through flashbacks, and looks at how they have dealt with the problems they've faced. It also shows how the outside world has reacted to them, often not awfully nicely, and it shows how the world has treated them differently as a result. It also, finally and more positively, shows how perhaps in each other they can find the support they need in order to get through life.
Why did you create this film?
I created the film as I have a history of mental illness and also Asperger's syndrome, and they are two medical conditions about which there is a lot of stigma and misunderstanding, in spite of the conditions being extremely common. 1 in 4 of us will experience mental illness firsthand at some point in our lives, and Asperger's affects around 1 in 100 people. Yet the weird paradox is that 2/3 of employers admit that they won't employ someone if they know they have a history of mental illness, and the unemployment rate of people with Asperger's is normally around 80%. And it's an extremely strange and destructive paradox, and I wanted to try and do something, try and highlight the situation, to show the problems that the misunderstanding and stigma causes, and also why it's ultimately unnecessary.
You had the breakdown a long time before it was diagnosed. Why was this?
The problem I had, and it's a problem other people have had as well, is that when you're in the process of having a breakdown, you are the last person to realise that is actually what's happening. It sounds extremely strange to say, but it is indeed true. You think that you're just on a bit of a downer, and that you'll get over it. Things aren't so bad and all that. But in reality, of course, things aren't okay at all, and slowly but surely it gets worse and worse. And by the time you realise just how bad it is, things can be extremely dark indeed. It was only when I found myself standing on top of a building and thinking of throwing myself off that I realised just how badly I needed help.
How can Asperger's syndrome affect people?
It can affect people in a number of ways. Social interaction can be a problem, and I certainly experienced that when I was at school. But there are many others as well, such as having extremely sort of intense and specific interests in some things, and a lack of interest in quote-unquote normal activities. Taking what people say literally is another as well. If you've ever watched the show called The Big Bang Theory, the character on the programme called Sheldon has been cited as an example of Asperger's, and I know that Wikipedia doesn't always have the best reputation on things, but there's an extremely well-sourced and well-researched article on there. I heard Robin Stewart, a notable Asperger's campaigner, describe having Asperger's as looking at the world through a frosted glass window, and I thought that summed it up beautifully, hence the title of the film.
How are you diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome?
It all came about in an extremely odd way. I was at a period in my life of emotionally being absolutely at rock bottom in early 2004, and I saw a documentary about the late great entertainer Les Dawson, who I'd always loved on the TV when I was young, and it revealed that he had what you might term the sort of stereotypical tough northern upbringing, sort of slum tenements, dead-end jobs, not much chance of a future, that kind of thing. And in his early 20s, he suffered from depression, and it was also revealed that he kept a diary about what he was going through, in which he sometimes wrote poems. And I just thought, I wonder if I can do that. And I did, and I started writing poems about what I was going through, just as he had done, and it was a great cathartic exercise. And a year or so later, I'd moved to Loughborough to attend the university there, and when I met my new psychiatrist there for the first time, I thought, I'll show her all of the poems I've written. And she took them away and read them, and on our next meeting, she said, yep, I read these, they're extremely useful. This selection here were especially useful, and I think you might have Asperger's. And she told me about it, and I went away and read up about it. And for the first time in my life, I knew why I am who I am. And it made such a positive difference to me, because I could rationalise why things that had happened to me had happened, and it made it so much easier in terms of being able to just deal with everyday life. And we've managed to make contact with her again for the film, and it's been absolutely wonderful.
Who's working with you on the film?
I'm working with a great company called Stretch New Media, who specialise in working with writers from marginalised parts of society, and I'm really enjoying working with them. The film is being directed by a wonderful director called Ben Cole, who has many years of experience in the industry on both sides of the camera. He's worked with Anthony Perkins, amongst others, and to see him at work is like watching poetry in motion. I was helping out on another film that he was the director of photography on, and I knew instantly, just from watching him, he was the man I wanted. We also had two wonderful actors, Andrew Dow-Biggin and Rebecca Hutchinson, who have a lot of stage and also TV experience, and they are also a couple in real life, and so they have great chemistry on and off camera.
You have a GoFundMe campaign going. How can people donate to it?
The GoFundMe campaign is at www.gofundme.com/frostedglassfilm, and we also have a website called www.frostedglassfilmsite.co.uk, where all the information is.